Buenos noches, eFootball hermanos. Let's do some Real Madrid shit. Heute werden wir den giftigsten Real Madrid Kader, den es in den letzten 10-20 Jahren gegeben hat, auf eFootball Schiene nachbasteln. Ich habe mir da das Jahr 2010 bis 2013 rausgepickt unter José Mourinho seiner Zeit. Und ich werde euch jetzt da auf eine kleine Reise mitnehmen, wie ich an die Sache herangehe. Wir werden uns zuerst ein kleines Video angucken, welche Spieler gespielt haben, welche Taktik sie verfolgt haben. Und dann werden wir versuchen, diesen Plan in der eFootball World umzusetzen. Kann leider nicht mit allen Spielern dienen, aber ich werde so gut es geht versuchen, dieselben Spieler zu nutzen, die damals in der José Mourinho-Ära gespielt haben. Und werde noch den ein oder anderen Real Madrid-Klassiker mit einbinden. Also, let's do it, baby. Lass uns mal die Taktik und die Spieler genauer angucken. Am Ende des Videos zeige ich euch dann meinen Kader, die Taktikeinstellungen. Und mit dieser Mannschaft werde ich die eFootball League, die neue jetzige Phase spielen, und auch den Championship Open werde ich mit diesem Kader probieren. In diesem Sinne, a la Madrid, hermanos.
From 2010 to 2013, José Mourinho was in charge of Real Madrid. Having come off a wildly successful spell at prior club Inter Milan, a lot was expected of him. And he delivered silverware, winning 3 pieces of silverware during his 3-year reign. The number of trophies may not directly reflect the quality of the team, because undoubtedly they were one of the premier teams in Europe, but also happened to be competing against a great Barcelona side. But in 2011-12, Mourinho conquered Spain as he led Real Madrid to La Liga. But what tactics did Mourinho use whilst at Madrid? Mourinho adjusted his tactics between the 3 seasons, but the broad principles were similar. We will, however, mainly focus on 2011-12, whilst drawing smaller elements from the other 2. The 2011-12 season is in fact one of the greatest seasons in La Liga history. They broke the points record by accumulating 100, they scored the most goals with a staggering 121, with a goal difference of plus 89, as well as the most points accumulated away from home. Formationally, in matches where he felt that he needed to be more defensive and be more solid in general, he would opt for the 4-3-3 with the following personnel.
So, hier steigen wir ein. Ihr habt die Mannschaft gesehen. Das sieht wie folgt aus. Spieler. Vorne, rechte Verteidiger Carvajal, IV 2010 bis 2013 Ramos mit Varane. Links statt Marcelo spielen wir mit Carlos, Legende, Nummer 3. Auf der 6 statt Alonso haben wir Casemiro. Kaka, Real Madrid Legende, Seedorf. Rechts außen Di Maria, Mittelstürmer Karim Benzema. Links außen Cristiano Ronaldo.
The key was being able to bring in the extra defensive midfielder to make them harder to penetrate through the center. However, in the league, this was only used twice, as he usually saved it for cup competitions against elite opposition. The trademark formation of this team was undoubtedly the 4-2-3-1, with the only personnel difference being Özil in place of Lassana Diarra. Now let's start with a look at the build-up play. Real Madrid enjoyed an average of 57% of possession, so let's look at how they utilized this. As a team with lots of possession, for the most part, they would look to start plays by playing it short to one of the centre-backs. However, against teams who pressed high, they were just as comfortable going long, as they would have 2 aerial targets in Ronaldo and one of Higuain or Benzema. As one man went in for the header, the other would run in behind, often joined by Di Maria, whilst Özil, just behind, would look to pick up any loose possession.
Taktik ist on. Statt Özil haben wir Kaka. Ansonsten, das war die Main Formation 4, 2, 3, 1. Wobei der Ronaldo aus 4, 2, 3, 1 wird schnell ein 4, 2, 2, 2. Aus dem linken Mittelfeld, linken Flügel wird ein Stoßstürmer. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Broken attack. Both centre-backs were comfortable on the ball. However, Ramos was much better on it, and if all the midfield passing options were taken, he could take on the responsibility and drive the ball up the pitch with Pepe covering. But even when they both remained deep, Pepe would defer to Ramos on the ball, as shown by Ramos averaging more passes per game. The fullbacks also had differing roles. Alvaro Arbeloa was a much more limited fullback, usually only being used as an outlet who could play short passes to get the team out of pressure situations. But for the most part, he tended to stay deeper, just slightly ahead of the centre-backs when possible. Marcelo was a different case on the left, as he had on-the-ball ability that could match most midfielders. When he had the ball, he was given more permission to dribble up the line when required. But he also made riskier passes from deep, like raking cross-field passes to Di Maria, who maintained his width on the right, or trying to break the lines. But even when he didn't have the ball, he would still move much higher up the pitch than Arbeloa. His greater involvement in the build-up play is shown by significantly more passes per game.
So, schauen wir uns die individuellen Anweisungen an. Let's take a look on the individual instructions. Wie wir gesehen haben, hat der rechte Außenverteidiger eine defensivere Aufgabe. Daher Individual Instructions, Carvajal Defense. Und der linke Verteidiger, der Carlos, der darf nach vorne marschieren. Dem geben wir keine Defensivanweisung. Wenn der Carlos eine Idee hat und nach vorne zieht, weil er mit eingebunden wird, dann wird der Ronaldo ein bisschen zentraler kommen automatisch.
When Arbeloa stayed deep on the right, Di Maria, despite being left-footed, was happy to hug the touchline. This would naturally create more space in the center of the pitch for Özil and Ronaldo to operate in. But he would also attack the byline and attempt 4.4 crosses per game into the two big aerial targets. But on the occasions where Arbeloa would look to overlap him, this gave Di Maria the freedom to tuck in centrally to then look for a game-breaking pass with the second most key passes per game. But he could also have shots from range as well. Either way, this played into Madrid's preference for the central overload. But Ronaldo was undoubtedly the key to the team. Ronaldo rarely ever attacked the byline on the left-hand side, instead vacating that region to allow Marcelo to overlap him and provide the width. Ronaldo would move into the left half space, and even from range he was a threat to the team. This day meant that teams would look to mark him tight, at times even doubling up. All of this just opened up more space for Özil to operate in the center. Or if the opposition shifted across when Madrid overloaded the left, Di Maria would now be in space for the switch. But Ronaldo loved to attack the box, and when he vacated his position, Özil often moved into the left half space as he could look to cross from these deeper regions. But Özil would also link up well with Marcelo, feeding the ball to him so that he could look to cut back to Ronaldo or have a regular cross. Having Ronaldo and the forward meant two genuine aerial threats in the box, and as a result, Real Madrid attempted 22 crosses per game. Benzema and Higuain both started many games, often performing similar roles. Both were selfless and worked for the team, dropping deep to link the play when necessary, or even going wide when Ronaldo needed more space in central areas. Both also had eyes for goals, whether from crosses from wide regions or creating space for themselves on the edge of the box. On the defensive end, especially against weaker opposition, soon after losing the ball, Madrid would look to counterpress and win it high up where possible. But as their press was not that coordinated and could be easily bypassed, they tended to instead drop deep. And when defending deep, Real Madrid's priority was not to allow attacks through the center of the pitch. Di Maria was extremely hard-working on the defensive end and would look to drop extremely deep. This was in contrast to Ronaldo on the left-hand side, where he would stay much higher up the pitch, practically as a forward, whilst Özil was slightly deeper, meaning that at times their formation looked like a lopsided 4-3-1-2, with an emphasis on clogging the center, as they had two dominant centre-backs who could deal with crosses.
Also wie wir gerade gesehen und gehört haben, hatte der Di Maria eine sehr hohe Arbeitsrate, auch sehr viel Defensivaufgaben. Darum, wie im Video gezeigt, Zentrum dicht machen. Di Maria defensiv, Anweisung, rutscht dann mehr oder weniger zurück. Und dann bekommen wir im weitesten Sinne ein 4-3-1-2. Genau das war die Taktik, die Defensivtaktik gegen starke Gegner von Jose. Also aus den 4-3-3 wird ein 4-3-1-2. Weil der Di Maria zurückrutscht, mithilft. Müsste man den Seedorf rüberziehen. Casemiro auf die 6. Lass aber in dem Fall den Di Maria offensives Mittelfeld. So schaut das Ganze gut aus. Mit der Anweisung Defense. Defense Di Maria. Attacking Kaka. Counter Target Ronaldo. No.
And Alonso, whilst not being traditional destroyers, both put in work, getting decent levels of tackles and interceptions. But from these deep positions, we saw one of the side's major weapons, the counter-attack. The positioning of the 4-3-1-2 put them in the perfect position for this. After winning the ball, if they wanted to go direct, Ramos and Xabi Alonso were both capable of launching it with an accurate long ball.
Jose. Long ball counter. Quick and dirty. Genau deswegen haben wir mit dieser Mannschaft als Coach den Jose und Teamplay-Style sowohl bei der Main-Taktik als auch bei der Subtaktik. Long Ball Counter. Quick and Dirty ist das Motto. Manus.
As a result, Real had comfortably the most lethal team on the break. And it was an incredible team, one of the best that Spain has seen. But what are your memories of this Madrid side and Mourinho's spell in general? Drop them down in the comments below.
So, fassen wir also noch einmal zusammen. Wir haben den Jose Mourinho als Trainer. Long Ball Counter Taktik. Angelehnt an die Real Madrid Mannschaft 2010 bis 2013. Die Main Taktik 4-3-3. Die Subtaktik ein 4-3-1-2. Wir haben einen defensiven Carvajal, einen offensiven Carlos. Wir haben einen Di Maria, der rechts draußen bleibt und das Spiel breit macht. Und wir haben einen Casemiro, der im Angriff zurückrutscht und aus den zwei Innenverteidiger wird eine Dreierkette. Dann haben wir einen Cristiano Ronaldo als Counter-Target. Und dann haben wir die Subtaktik, wo wir einen zentralen defensiven Block haben, wo der Di Maria sehr viel Arbeitsleistung bringen muss, wo der KK gut nach vorne stechen wird bei den Kontern und wo der Ronaldo als Mittelstürmer agieren wird, als wirklich Mittelstürmer ohne Defensivaufgaben. Statt Özil haben wir KK, statt Lazadira haben wir Seedorf und statt Alonso haben wir Casemiro. Sonst ist das mehr oder weniger fast die Mannschaft von 2010, 2013. Und zum Abschluss zeige ich euch noch die Ersatzspieler, die ich mitnehme. Wir werden den Vini mitnehmen, den Booster Vini, auch als Mittelstürmer einsetzbar, den Raúl, den Bellingham, den Guti, den Toni, den Luca, den David, den Militao, den Rüdi und den Kepa als Ersatztormann. Hoffentlich werden wir den nie brauchen. Und dann noch 2 junge Wilde, die wahrscheinlich nie spielen werden. Aber ja, da gibt es auf jeden Fall noch Optionen auf der Bank. In diesem Sinne, amigos. Ich hoffe, ich sehe euch in den nächsten Streams. Und ich bin schon sehr gespannt, was wir mit dieser Mannschaft schaffen werden.